تعلم، اسعى، وظف إبداعك، استثمر مواهبك اللي تنور طريقك. ثقتك بنفسك تحقق لك أهدافك. لا تنتظر الفرصة فيك، تفنن أنت في خلقها. عندك الموهبة، هذا نص الدرب. اتعب وكافح. ناخذ بيدك ونوسع دائرة مشاريعك، ننمي مهاراتك ونلبي احتياجاتك. حلم الواحد يبحر في خير، بس الأحلى إنه يوظف الحلم ويبنيه على أرض الواقع. ولا تليفون شغال ولا انستغرام انترفيس ولا تويتر انترفيس.
أبي الوضع يكون صدق ظلمة، وبيكم تعيشون معاي هذا الإحساس واللي احنا نسميه إحساس الظلمة، علشان نعرف لأي درجة لو كان الفن، يعني احنا قاعد نتكلم عن النور، لو كان الفن موجود يعني احنا قاعد نتكلم عن أشياء ممكن ان احنا بشكل أجمل، بشكل أحلى، كل واحد فينا يقدر يقدم.
لمبة وراح 3 بنات، أنا دلال هولي خريجة تمويل جامعة الكويت، نور والعماني تخصص انتيريور ديزاين جامعة الكويت، ومريم مريم العماني بالكنترول تخصص إذاعة وتمثيل. الإبداع يولد فكرة، والفكرة تولد النور، والنور هو اللمبة. من كذي إحنا اخترنا هالاسم. شو تسوي لمبة؟ لمبة عندها خدمات إلكترونية أو خدمات غير إلكترونية. الخدمات الإلكترونية في البداية عندنا our circuit اللي هي الدليل اللي يجمع الفنانين والمصممين بالإنترنت في 5 مجالات: عمارة، فنون التصميم الداخلي مع الويدنج ديزاين، وعندنا الفيجوال كوميونيكيشن اللي هو الكاليغرافي مع الجرافيك ديزاين، والفيلم ميكينج والفوتوغرافي، فاين آرت، وجروبس اند اورجنايزيشنز وينكلودد بالاور سيركل عشان نتابع اخبار التجمعات المختصه بالفنون والتصميم. عندنا بعد خدمه ثانيه نوفرها على الويب سايت اللي هي اي لمبة انها تتيح الفرصه للمحلات الموجوده بالكويت والافراد اللي عندهم هابت او قطع اثاث من فريمز مثلا سوفاز يعرضونهم عندنا على الموقع ويقدرون يبيعونها. وعندنا بعد الإي-لايبرري لأن كمان هي كتب التصميم والفن جدا قديمة، فحبينا أن نجمع أو أن نجيب هالكتب ونبيعها عندنا في الموقع، وعشان كذا سوينا الإي-لايبرري. عندنا كذلك البلوج يتم تحديثه بشكل دوري، يغطي أكبر الأحداث والمواضيع، وكذلك يقدرون المشاركين اللي معنا بالدايركت اللي هي الأور سيركل يقدرون يشاركون بمواضيعهم يكتبون اللي يبونه، وبعد المودرز الثاني هم يقدرون يشاركون معنا. نوفر شيء ثاني برا الويب سايت اللي هي الفيلد تريبس، رحلات ميدانية بالتعاون مع الشركات والمصانع المتخصصة عشان ننمي الثقافات الموجودة وتشوفون شنو موجود بالسوق عشان تستخدمونه في مجال شغلكم. نوفر خدمة ثانية اللي هي الانترنشيب. هاي الممبرز اللي عندنا اللي يدورون انترن نقدر نوفر لهم هالخدمة عن طريق الكونكشنز. عندنا بعد شغلة ثالثة اللي هي ورش العمل والندوات والمؤتمرات. هدف لمبة هو المساهمة في تطوير القطاع ونشكر جميع الأشخاص اللي يساهمون معنا في تطوير هذا القطاع.
Our first guest speaker is a Lebanese architect born and raised in Kuwait. He's the founder and managing partner of Dahan, an 11-year-old locally based contracting company. They are specialized in building and finishing of retail spaces. ضيفنا الأول هو مهندس معماري من لبنان، ولد وعاش في الكويت، المؤسس والشريك الإداري لشركة دهان، شركة تجارة متخصصة في خدمات الهندسة المعمارية وأيضا الهندسة العامة والمقاولات. أبي أسمع جدا تحية كبيرة للمهندس سمير الدهان.
Thank you all for coming, and thank you Lambah for giving me this opportunity to be here and present myself, and wish you all the best, guys. What you're doing is amazing. For those who don't know what Dahan is and what is Dahan, I just briefly describe what Dahan is. Dahan is mentioned, the local-based company specializes in the interior contracting and decoration for retail spaces. Retail spaces, that's even better, for God's sake. Thank you. That's yours? Thank you. Hello? Yeah, me now. Yeah, so Dahan is basically an interior fit-out contracting company based in Kuwait. What we do is we build retail spaces like restaurants, shops, office spaces, boutiques, and banks. We're not a design firm. We don't do houses nor residentials. That's basically a small brief for Dahan, for those that may not know what Dahan is and what we actually do. Now, for a small, quick history on myself and how this business started and the passion behind it and how it actually came across. I'll just start by saying some simple, quick words about how it came along. My dad, God rest his soul, he actually was a MEP, an electromechanical contractor, that used to also do some interior fit-out contracting works in Kuwait. At certain time, he used to take us with him, me and my brother, over to his sites, by which on an age of 14, 15, I actually gained a beautiful experience in the actual handyman or the craftsman itself. So I was very well in electrical work, I was very well in carpentry, I was very well in blacksmith, if I may call it. So I gained this handcraft experience by hand, so I was very well aware of it. With time, I actually gained this passion. I wanted to continue doing the same business he had taught us of what to do. Allah yarhamu. During the time of which I also finished my graduation, I went and got hired by a company that did the same business of the interior fit-out contracting, and I stayed with them for a year and a half. It's maybe irrelevant what I'm saying now, but it's just a little bit of a history of how it started and why it actually came across, and how difficult it was to actually take decision and maybe do certain risks in life. That company I was hired with and I worked with for a year and a half, the day I started after graduation, they actually offered me a 250 KD as salary. I started off with them in that low salary because I believed that I can do something and at least change the method of my dad's old way of doing business, and which we always had a lot of conflict with. I'm sure all of us have the same, but we do have to appreciate our old parents and the way they think. At a certain age, we grow up and we understand that it's right. Started off with a small office, and alhamdulillah, job by job, it went through very well. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of hard work. There was a lot of late night stayings just to at least achieve what we want to achieve and do what we want to do. So that's a small history and a small backup of what Dahan is. And definitely the appreciation goes a lot to my dad. He really taught us everything I have and everything I know and everything I did. And I still actually learn till today things that he used to say and things that he used to do, which surprises me from once in a while and keep amazing me of how things are happening and how things are going. The other subject I want to talk about is Dahan and why are we only a contracting and why only a fit-out contracting company and why we're not also a design firm. To me personally, I love design, I adore design, I appreciate design. But to a certain stage in the business where it became really difficult to adapt to both businesses together, it became very difficult to actually provide that same service to a client. To me, I didn't find it feasible, I didn't find it any way acceptable because it's a contradiction. And I still believe till today, it's really hard for you to give a client the both needs, which is basically the design and the implementation. One entity as one goal. So I closed down the doors of design totally, and I never even welcome any kind of design business. Again, from the background of me being a craftsman, loving doing things by hand, so I really appreciated the building part of it. So I sit with clients. What we do is we detail his job, we detail his project. We give him a detailed bill of quantity, a scope of work that is really very detailed to him and to us to know every party's obligation and responsibilities. Again, this is another thing I need to tell everyone is a bill of quantity is something that we have to all look into. A bill of quantity is a documentation, is a paper that protects the client and protects the contractor or the builder above the client. I wish if every person can really consider in his project role to actually do this document and protect himself, so at least he knows what he's getting and at least the contractor also knows what he's giving over away. The other part of the BOQ, even though I'm continuing talking about bill of quantity, it's basically the comparison we're getting with the clients. And again, it's not the apple-to-apple comparison. You get clients or you get contractors that give you a vague documentation, a vague description of what you may do and how you would actually execute or build a store, but it's not totally detailed. And the client gets surprised and he finds out that a lot of items that he wanted to do wasn't in that scope. And this is where the actual variations goes. Very bad job. Me as a contractor, as a builder, I can immediately know a good designer from not. From immediately looking at those drawings, from immediately looking at the details that are given, from the soonest I see certain missing elements of that drawings. I would really appreciate if we can really work harder on our drawings. I would really appreciate if we could really just put more effort in detailing the scope of work and the drawings that are submitted. I understand maybe there are some difficulties with the clients accepting to pay certain amounts, accepting to pay certain budgets, accepting to pay certain values and considerations. But again, as a designer, it's not just the 3D, it's not just the perspective, it's not just the floor plan, it's not just the actual idea. You really need to think from the contractor's perspective, what details he needs. I find it very failing and very bad with a lot of designers that they end up have to sitting with me time after time, day after day, just to explain their giving drawings. And it's something that they should not be doing. It's something they should not be even wasting. It's time from them, it's effort that they're doing. And maybe they're not being paid to do that, but the only reason they're doing it is because they need to cover up on the missing or lack of details and information that's within the drawings. So please try to think from a perspective where the contractors want to think. How would he want to build that table? What details do I give him? What more further information he thinks he needs, just so he doesn't come back to me. I deal with international designers. I deal with people that are working all over the world that sent me certain persons, because end of the day, I still fear to lose what we're doing, and I still fear to actually lose the brand we've created and the entity we've made. As big as we grow, as high as we do, I cannot deny that I am delegating and I am actually depending on a lot of people to do things, but to a certain limit I still maintain that staying in and above the business is always important and it's always needed and necessary. That's why we haven't moved out of Kuwait and we still maintain our business within Kuwait. And hopefully I don't want to go out of Kuwait and stay maintaining the business in the same country and the same business. I've learned something from a very, very old friend, and something that I always repeat on over and over, and I cherish and appreciate. He did tell me something. It's quite in Arabic, but it means, I'll actually say it. It's called, or it says, لا تعيش على أمجادك. So basically, you don't need to live on your past. And something that I actually lived upon. It's something that I actually believed in and trust that we have to maintain. Living on your own past, today we always say that we've built, we've done, we've executed, we've done a lot of things that we've done in the history and the past. But people care today of who you are and who are you today. They don't really look into who you were and what you've been doing. So yes, we do have to look into our current position. I could be building.
كثير من التعقيدات والرواتب إذا كنت حاب يعني تستمر أو تبقى في الكويت
نعم.
كأعمال أو مقاولات، فهذا شيء كبير طبعا. إذا انتقلت راح يكون هذا الشيء أسهل. ليش ما تنتقل وتسوي لك أفضل طبعا؟
You totally have a point ومعك حق باللي عم تقوله، بس اليوم أنت عم تنظر ل different perspective. To me, where is home? Or what is home? I've been here most of my life, lived most of my life. My family is here, my history is here. So to be honest, it is home. كويت بلدي يعني ما فيني، مش عم جامل. شكرا أرجوكم ما بدي تطلع مني كأني عم بجامل أو عم بحكيها بطريقة لساير أو كذا. But this is the fact. This is the truth. Living here, my dad's been here since '63. It's difficult for me to actually move out or actually establish all of this again anywhere out of Kuwait. Today, let's be very frank, it's who you know. It's not what you know. Seriously, we get business definitely from knowing the business we're doing, but 50 or 60% of the businesses we get is from people we know, people that trust you, people that want to work with you, people that actually appreciate your work. الحمد لله الله يديمها يا اخي هالبلد والحمد لله ماشي حالنا ما في نقول شيء. شكرا. Anyone else? Yes, please. Why don't I work on residential? You want my frank opinion, and maybe I'll be rude to my reputation with the client. You need to satisfy reputation with suppliers and subcontractors and all the back end that you're doing. A lot of people nowadays are taking advantage of maybe their staff, their laborers, their actual back of house that we don't see, the suppliers, the contractors, the subcontractors, that they don't pay them maybe, or they don't actually cover their actual expenses, or delay them so much because they haven't done with their job and done with the project. If you're very strong with your subcontractors and suppliers, you would sustain because you need them. If you're very strong with your team and your staff, you would sustain. So I feel the competition here is only ethically who would actually sustain his in-house, back of house, before start looking of how to compete in prices, how to break in actual costs, or actually how to make it faster. It's not that. So I just really think you have to maintain your back of house. Thank you.
Thank you very much. يعطيك ألف عافية
الله
مهندس
يعافيكم.
سمير الدهان.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
قبل لا تنزل من المسرح لازم يكون في تكريم خاص من فريق لمبا لك انت، تفضل، والف مبروك وعليك بالف عافيه وشكرا لك. Thank you. ننتقل الآن إلى لوحة جميلة معدة من فريق لمبا، خلونا نشوفها ومن بعدها نرجع نكمل مع السبيكرز اللي معانا اليوم في هذا الإيفنت المميز. يعطيهم العافية الشباب ونسمع لهم تحية وايد كبيرة منكم. ننتقل الحين إلى الضيف الثاني، وهو ضيف أنا شخصيا أفتخر بأنه من أبناء وطني وهو جدا مميز. ضيفنا الثاني إنسان يملك خبرة 15 عام في مجال الإعلام والإنتاج، المؤسس والمدير التنفيذي لشركة لايتبوغ، حصل على بكالوريوس إخراج إذاعي وتلفزيوني من جامعة فلوريدا في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. خبرته الواسعة تتضمن وتتنوع من إخراج وإنتاج أوبريت صباح الوطن في عام 2008
إلى شلون مشوار وشلون وصلنا إلى where we are today. هذا صعب شوي. أوكي. يمكن كذي أحسن. خلينا نقول البداية بدأت تروالي من عمري 8 سنين 9 سنين، لأني كنت معجب في الفن بشكل عام، وكنت معجب بالفيلم ميكينج، ومعجب في الإخراج التلفزيوني، وكانوا في ناس أو أشخاص بالنسبة لي أعتبرهم هم القدوة، وأعتبرهم هم اللي أنا خلينا نقول انفتنت فيهم وانفتنت في أعمالهم. والأشخاص متوزعين ما بين يمكن الكويت وما بين الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. أذكر منهم المخرج ستيفن سبيلبرغ، أذكر منهم والت ديزني، أذكر منهم من الكويت بدر بورسلي، أذكر منهم الملحن غنام الديقان، واشخاص مثل هذيل هم اللي كونوا فكرتي لشنو معنات الفن. قررت اني اصير مخرج من عمري 9 سنين. مسكت كاميرا يمكن عمري 10 سنين 9 سنين بهالحدود، ومن ذاك الوقت الى اليوم انا ما هديت الكاميرا. اليوم عمري 40 سنه. تخرجت سنة 96 وبديت مشوار اللي نسميه خلينا نقول الكارير. بديت بالبرامج التلفزيونية، طلعت إلى الأغاني المصورة، ومن بعدها إلى الدوكيومنتريز والإعلانات. ومن الدوكيومنتريز والإعلانات اليوم إحنا في مؤسسة لايتبق، في شركة لايتبق قاعدين نبدي مرحلة جديدة، وهي اللي احنا نسميها الإعلام المشرق أو برايت ميديا، وهو إنتاج البرامج، مسلسلات، المسرح والفيلمز اللي نحس إن هي تشرق من ناحيتين، ناحية الفاليوز والقيم اللي موجودة داخلها، ومن الناحية الفنية بشكل أكبر.